Shawnee, how did you find carnivore?
Oh, like the story that everyone tells, YouTube. I was kind of looking through one day. I hadn't been feeling well, and so I kind of was putting in some symptoms in the search engine, and the carnivore diet came up through the usual channels, Joe Rogan and Michaela Peterson. And I don't watch them all the time, but I said I put it in the back of my mind that hey, maybe I try that sometime. So I had been a variety of symptoms that kind of crept up on me. I had back in February of 2020, I got something that was a virus that they didn't know. We didn't have the COVID test where I was. And so all signs point to COVID. But I was in the hospital, and then I got out of the hospital and I was very sick and I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know how to fix it. And my condition just worsened. I went from being a person who could walk a lot and go long distances to I was having a hard time getting out of bed. And so I kind of was looking at, gosh, why does my body have so much pain? And so I was looking into anything that would help. And before the carnivore, I actually was a vegan for a little bit, about half a year, and it was good. Like I felt like I was doing what I should health wise, but I wasn't getting better, and so I was willing to try anything. And then back that February, I went to the dentist and I was going to have a tooth pulled, and the dentist said, "I can't pull your tooth because your blood pressure is very high." And I just had said, I will do anything at this point to try to fix how bad I feel and my blood pressure." And so that's when I said, I'm going to try that carnivore diet. And the next day I started, and it was 4 days in, only 4 days that I started feeling better. And so then yeah, oh wow, I was right. Cause I was just, I couldn't believe how much I went from my feet not being able to move very well, like arthritis conditions, to being able to walk freely again, like a normal person. Cause I was starting to walk like herky jerky, and so it was really scary to me. And my first experience, I really started looking at all the videos very carefully. Dr. Barry, he was talking about the BB beanie, and I was like, I really love breakfast. I love all of those things. So my first experience, I woke up that the next day after the dentist denied my tooth. And I said, I will just have breakfast then. I will have breakfast all day long until I start feeling better. And I remember after the first breakfast, I hadn't had eggs in a long time because eggs were bad for you, bad for you. I hadn't had butter in a while because they were bad for you. And salt, I haven't had salt on my food ever as an adult. And so all of this stuff was very weird to learn, but all of a sudden, big difference in how I felt and how I just acted throughout the day.
Wow. So when you say you had breakfast, do you mean like it was just bacon and eggs the whole time?
Bacon and eggs for the first couple of days because I just didn't know. I'd never cooked a steak before. I ate lots of steaks when I was a kid because my family ate a lot of meat, but they were meat and potatoes and Irish. So we were like, meat, potatoes, and lots of bread. And so standard American diet all the way through. And it's interesting to know that we didn't have a lot of vegetables, but it was, I did get that message that it was important to have your vegetables. And so as I got to be an adult, then I ate mostly, vegetables, like big salads. And I like to call it the typical female diet, which is immediately you go, oh, I got to lose weight. So I'm going to have a chicken salad with a big bunch of chicken on top. And that was also what I was like, wow, this is so weird to me. No chicken, really. Obviously you can have it, but I just wasn't craving chicken and it wasn't talked about. So, yeah. And I was by myself for a long time. I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. And I kind of kept it quiet for the first couple of weeks because I actually honestly thought I was going to die without vegetables. I thought, wow, 4 days in, I might die. But I told my sister, I said, "Hey, I'm trying this," and I said, "You might want to try it too," because she had been overweight as an adult for a long time, and I remember her saying to me a long time ago, "I really feel better when I just have eggs, steak and eggs. I'm just the happiest when I get the most energy out of steak and eggs." And I thought it was strange because I was an oatmeal person. I ate oatmeal with all of the banana and the berries and and all the other stuff as well. And that I thought powered me. And then the other thing that I got into was smoothies. I was very much, oh, I've got to have an energy smoothie. And now I look back on it and I realize that an hour and a half in, and the smoothies didn't cut it. And so then my brain goes, all right, I need more, and then it would be sugars. So that's what I'm grappling with, is the addiction to carbohydrates. So the carnivore it's solved a lot of problems.
Mm. So how long has it been now?
Um, I did straight carnivore for about 10 months and felt fabulous. And then um, my brain plays tricks on me like, oh, I'm better. I can eat other things. And then now I'm working my way back to just straight carnivore instead of adding in stuff. Because when I add in stuff, I notice you can have all the symptoms back. They come back. And so I'm working with that now. And that's also a lesson I'm learning about perfectionism, because it, I have that all or nothing mentality, like, oh, I have to do everything perfectly. And it's like, yeah, this one is something that you want to look at carnivore as much as you can, because like I said, the symptoms do come back, and they come back
Mm.
quicker. When I'm with friends or family and it's like, can't have pizza. I really can't. I can do part of the toppings, obviously, but it's the tomato base. So the best part about carnivores is I can see now what my body can't handle. And it's not a like a I'm bad, because my brain would play tricks on me, like, oh, you're not doing this perfectly, or you should do this a different way, a lot of the shoulds. But my body tells me now that you can't eat that, it's not good for you. Whereas before, I was able to mask everything, and then eat not perfectly, and then problems would happen. So I hope that made sense.
So the stint you're at now, getting back into it, how long has that been?
About 2 weeks. Yeah, because it was like I was finding that I would do like 5 days of carnivore, really, and I would feel wonderful, and then I would be like, oh, I'm feeling good, and then I'd be with friends, and then it's like something would sneak back in, or a celebration, and then you realize, oh, I can do some of it, it's, but boy, you have to be on it, because that's part of the reason why I wanted to talk about it, because other people go through this, and this is the thing one eating way of eating that I've noticed that you can find your way back quicker, and then you can get feeling better quicker, instead of it's hard to describe, but it just is a really good way. Like your body will thank you quicker. Is what I want to say. So
So, thinking back to those first 10 months,
yes.
um, can you give me an idea of some of the things that improved that make you want to go back
Oh yeah.
now?
Um, Brain fog. Number one is being clarity, like being able to make decisions and not with anxiety. Like that clarity. I want to do this. I'm going to do this. And you take better care of, like, I take better care of myself. Whereas before it was just like, oh, I hope I'm making good decisions. But now it's like, oh no, it was clarity and it was focus. And I've never experienced that as an adult. And so that was the first time. And I know it's totally because of nutrition, because my brain was at peace. The other thing too is I never realized that that satiety that everybody talks about, being able to feel like you're actually full, you got what you needed. I'd never had that as an adult, probably never as a kid either. So that was wonderful. I lost 30 pounds in about 2 months. And it wasn't, my goal was never to lose weight. It was always about being able to walk in energy and feeling like I can do things, because I was getting really scared of that I was going in another way, and I wouldn't be able to do things. And I didn't want to do that. So this gave me strength. It made me feel energy, and I appreciated that. So I had the mental focus, the clarity, the energy. I and then I had lost weight, so that also made things feel good. Then so that's wonderful.
Um, and when you've been doing it, how do people react to you?
Oh my gosh. When I finally started talking about it, everybody that I was around tried to get me to stop. And it was awful because I was a grade A people pleaser, and I like to fit in. And for me to stand my ground against people that eat differently, and the way that they were taught was very similar to the way that I was taught. And this is a total different mindset. This is, let's talk about vegetables, because I was set not to have vegetables, and I started realizing, wow, the vegetables. And here's where the TMI of it all. I was getting very, very, very sick internally, and I didn't realize it. And bowel habits, everything was getting. There's a lot of blood, so basically that's TMI. And then I stopped eating vegetables, and I don't have that problem anymore. So, and because of a video that I saw, Laura Spath, I think her last name is Spath. It was about people having the courage to talk about, I have this condition, or and so many people went first, and I was like, oh, thank God someone's talking about this, because here I was thinking if I just ate more of certain foods, everything would be better internally, and it got worse by certain foods. So I one of my best friends was very mad at me because she's almost she's not a vegan, but she's vegetarian almost. Like very rarely will she have a piece of chicken or a fish. But so she was very worried about me, that I was doing the wrong thing. And so we didn't have, like, it was a weird fight. She stuck her ground, and I just finally had to say, I'm eating this way right now. It may change, but this is what I'm doing right now for me. And that was the first time I've ever stood up to somebody about, this is what I'm doing for me. And I'm proud of myself because I stood my ground. Because normally I would either shut up and not take my side seriously. But there was a part of me that knew I needed to do this, that I needed to give this a chance for my health. So, but I actually thought I was going to die after 5 days with no vegetables, because I was like, oh my God, I've never gone without vegetables. You need vegetables, all that stuff that's in your head when you start. So,
Yeah, you need all that glyphosate.
yes.
So, um, what's that relationship like now?
Um, it's Everybody watched me, and they watched me change in front of them. And I have to say, the camera angle doesn't do me justice. I'm actually quite cuter, but standing up. But they watched me lose weight. They watched my energy level change. They watched my personality, like joy, because coming back from almost like a depression. So that really said more to them than what are you eating? And then so they just let me be, and then would watch me, because as it went on, as I first said, I'm only going to do 30 days. And then after the 30 days was up, then, oh, you've done your 30 days. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going to go on. And, then it would be like, oh, okay. And then it just opened it up. And then I had 3 friends join that were like on the fence. They were like, I heard about this. I kind of thought I wanted to try it. And so I went first, and then they went. And then one person's life was really changed by it, and he was really grateful. He was like, thank you so much for being able to talk about it with me, because he'd always wanted to try it and then just didn't have anybody to talk to about it. And then my sister, her life has changed too. So I feel good that I went first and then had people kind of join me. But when I started, I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. So I really clung to the YouTube videos. This is why I wanted to talk to you about it, because I wanted to celebrate, because it's been over a year now, but I'm working my way back in more because I believe in it very strongly, and
Hmm.
I don't want anyone to. I want it to be a choice that isn't looked down upon or frowned upon, because we're not, bad people, and I love animals. Then there's a spiritual component that was very important to me as well. I had to realize that, I needed to live, and if I'm meant to be, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I also, if this is the way, then I will. This is what I have to do right now. But I was very, very sad because I originally wanted to, the animals, save the animals, and now it's like no. So you have to get into the farming aspect of it and the regenerative and learning about that as well, and then where you purchase.
The other people you mentioned, are they still doing it?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because it, I think it's a calling. Like some people just they know when it's time, and then they go ahead, and I like it just fit. And it had been something that I thought about a while ago. When I was in my early 20s, there was a book out about O negative blood type and how they're like supposed to be meat eaters. And I'm O negative. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm a meat eater. And at the time I was like, I don't want to be. So I didn't. But then I'm like, yeah, this seems to work.
You started off, you were doing bacon and eggs, bacon and eggs, bacon and eggs.
All the
What is it? What does a typical day look like for you now?
It's still a lot of breakfast because I love breakfast. It's my favorite. And then I am a coffee drinker, but not a lot. I only drink like one or maybe two at the most, but with cream, heavy cream, and then butter. So I listen to a lot of the doctors that talk about the hormones in women. So I'm mostly focusing on that now as I age. So, and then steak, a lot of hamburger, and my gosh, I've had so much more fun going to the grocery store as a carnivore, because you're in and out in 10 minutes. And then I love talking about budgeting because I love to make sure that I can get my budget. It's as it's, I don't want to use the word cheap, but yeah, it's not a difficult diet to learn how to do, and it's not hard to pay for. So I find that I save as much money this way. It's like, once again, that focus. I go in the store, I know exactly what I need, and I love my refrigerator. I open the refrigerator and I have everything I need, and everything gets used. There's no waste. So I love that.
And are you eating like a particular number of meals a day, or you just do it how you feel?
I do it mostly how I feel, but I do best when I do 3 meals. It's not a lot of food at one time. And then I noticed there's a danger signal that I didn't realize. If I'm not eating a lot, I have to really pay attention to make sure that I get everything that I need. Because then if I'm not getting enough proteins, obviously, then the cravings will start again. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to. I have to pay attention to that. I have to make sure I have a good lunch, because where I work, they have lunch included, and so it's not always carnivore. I love the days that they have hamburger and hot dog and cheeses and stuff. So I'm like, that's great. But then other days it's all a mix of stuff, and I gotta go without. So I have to remember to bring my own. So
Okay, so that's how you know in advance what's going to be on the menu, so you bring.
yeah, I try to pay attention to what they're going to do in a week.
And have you had any kind of funny looks at work because of that?
Yes, because when my plate looks just like, 3 hamburger patties and some cheese, and everyone else's is all the side salads and everything. Um, I had one day when I was at work where I was sitting with a bunch of women, and then, everyone eats. And this is, if I could get one message across, it would be this one. Women, we all sit down and everybody's eating, and then everyone gets full. And then at the end, they're like, oh, I've got to start exercising. I got to start eating better. And it's like, why are we doing this? Why are we having this same conversation? Is it just polite? Is it, is it something to talk about like the weather? But I don't participate in those anymore. I don't really want to, because for the first 4 months when I did carnivore. I didn't exercise. I just let my body heal, and I ate good quality food and just was so relieved to feel better. And I used to overdo, I used to over exercise just to prove, like, okay, I ate something, now I have to exercise. And it's like beating my body up. So now I treat myself very differently. So I don't push myself like that.
Did you notice any improvements when you've been on carnivore? Any improvements in your oral health or any kind of fungal infections?
Yes, and that's also, thank you. You were the first person to mention that in all the videos that I've watched to talk about dental. Yeah, teeth much cleaner, whiter, and then my gums don't bleed. And they were really having a time. But the dentist was the first reason I started to think about it, because I said, oh, my blood, he wouldn't pull my tooth. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and take care of my health. My blood pressure. Blood pressure is on the way down. It's something is not quite right yet, but I'm working with a doctor on it. So
Oh, nice. Um, so given what you've done over the last year and the experiences that you've had, if someone came to you and said, "Look, I this carnivore diet sounds interesting. I've tried every other diet, nothing's worked. Um, what's the best way to get started and stick with this?" What advice would you give them?
I would point them in the direction of a couple people on YouTube. Um, Dr. Barry, of course, is he. There was something about the way he explains it that made it seem doable and, not crazy at all. And he's got that way that you kind of want him to be your doctor. It's like, I wish he was my doctor. So, and then the keep it simple of it all was the BBB, bacon, beef, butter, eggs. And because when people hear that, they go, the majority of people that I talk to about it, they go, oh, I can't eat eggs. And I'm like, well, you don't have to eat just eggs. There's a whole bunch of, beef that you can have. So you simplify it just so until you get your bearing. And then after a while, there's a lot of great recipes, people with recipes that are just phenomenal. And then you can get into the kind of making the things that you want to make, and like meatloaf and stuff you can do with pork rinds and all the fun stuff that people learn how to do. So, but then in the end, I realized I like simple too. So I can eat the same thing over and over again.
So Shawnee, is there a way that people can reach out to you? Do you have a YouTube or any social media?
I'm just an email person. I'm just a regular person. So I'm Shawnee.black, like the color, SHAWNEE.black at yahoo.com. If there's any kind of kinships that you're got questions or want to talk. Because yeah, everybody needs a friend when they're starting this, someone to talk to about it, to know that you're not dying. Give yourself a couple days. Because you got other friends that are like, why are you doing that? You need everything. You need vegetables. No, you don't.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us, Shawnee. I really appreciate your time.
I want to thank you because you're doing a great job and you're really helping so many people. So I want to thank you because the way that you present is just wonderful.